Everyone, Joseph Varghese here, rulesforsuccess.com, here interviewing my buddy, my good friend, Arvin Khamseh. Arvin and I go back several years, and it's really inspired by who he has become as a leader. He has a community called ContractorRiches.com. Basically, he helps contractors, particularly in the US and Canada, also level up and find opportunities and kind of scale their businesses too as well. And Arvin's a unique guy. He's passionate about biohacking, so we have a lot in common with regard to that. He's also very passionate with systems. He went to medical school years ago and did a few pivots over the years. Right now, he lives in Vancouver, in Vancouver, British Columbia. You've been there for a couple of years now, a few years now at this point.
In 2016, actually. Yeah.
So time flies. Arvin was living in New York for some time. It's where we connected, and he's doing some amazing things. He's out there being bold and every day just doing amazing things, helping his clients. So on this session, so this is Rules for Success, rulesforsuccess.com. We're doing a series of interviews. We have done quite a few recently, actually, really engaging with exceptional people and talking about strategies on how people watching this, our audience, can level up in this climate, particularly the COVID climate. So hence rules for success, or rules for COVID success. And based on the gifts the superpowers that our guests have. So we all have unique superpowers. And the intention is that we'll do this in 20 minutes. A lot can be done in 20 minutes, we believe. And the reason for 20 minutes is there's an idea by Pareto's principle. And it's the 80-20 rule. And the idea is that you can get 80% of what you need to get done in 20% of the time by making the right choices, by focusing on the 20%. And I know, Arvin, you're passionate about that. Arvin was also a member of my Success Circles community several years ago, and it's a peer-to-peer coaching community. And he was probably the most bold person in the community in terms of what he got done on a day-to-day basis, making bold, unreasonable requests. And, it all shows because where he is now in impacting thousands of people, growing a six-figure business has come out of taking those bold actions. So Arvin, welcome. I've been talking
Thank
about
you so much for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, my friend. Every time I talk to you, it invites me to level up too, because one thing I talked about recently is we rise to the expectations of our peer group. Of our peer group. So when we're around people who see the best in us, who expect us to be bold, we naturally kind of level up to kind of rise to the occasion. And that's something that we did in our community, in our Success Circles community, our mastermind years ago. But I want to talk about what you're doing these days. And, I know you were helping building contractors kind of make shifts, right? This is a unique economy in the US, Canada, all around the world, especially, right? And where contractors may be out of work, they're looking to figure out what's next, they're looking to pivot perhaps. And you have a unique formula as far as helping these contractors use social media, YouTube and Facebook to kind of scale their brands and to engage customers. Well, let's talk about that briefly, and we'll also talk about how the everyday entrepreneur or any of the people watching this podcast, anyone can kind of use technology as a means to automate and scale, which is something I'm very passionate to as well. But I know you're specifically focusing on contractors as far as people you work with on a day-to-day basis. So let's talk about that. So what are contractors, what are people dealing with now such that they need to evaluate their businesses and get on social media and scale? What are they dealing with now?
Yeah, so 100%. So there are, I guess, different groups of contractors are out there, right? So we're talking some contractors that they've always been on social media. They've had a digital presence. And there's some contractors that never had a social media presence and they've never done anything digital. And then now all of a sudden they have to, just have that huge shift from going from, not ever doing anything online to actually being forced to actually do their things virtually or shutting down, right? So I talk with a lot of contractors on LinkedIn, actually. I ask them, I say, hey, so with this COVID-19 happening right now, what is going on? Like, are you shutting down? Are you still doing your work? What's happening? And so what I found is that the the contractors that were only relying on referrals, or only relying on one or two sources, they're more struggling. And the ones that they always wanted themselves to be not a commodity, but they deliver something additional. So they had a huge brand, for example. They were known for a specific brand online. Those are the ones that they're still relevant, because people sitting at home, a lot of people are sitting at home just because they can't go out, and they look up their stuff, and they just the difference between someone who has been digital for some time and just actually getting into the digital world is just becoming a lot more significant right now. So to summarize it, what's happening is that some contractors, they're adapting, and then some contractors, they're just kind of resting, and then right now they're in a freeze mode. And they're waiting for, I guess, something else to happen, waiting for maybe the economy changes, or just the homeowners going through this shift, right? So I would say, yeah, that's probably the general general sense of where they at. Yeah.
And would you just say there's a huge opportunity now, right? It's such that I just got present as recently, this past week. So
Yeah.
if you've got a brand and you leverage social media, even Facebook. So Facebook ads now are cheaper than they've ever been, particularly because a lot of the restaurants and places are no longer able to run ads because the restaurants are closed. So if you have a brand and you're leveraging social media, it's 1/10 or 1/7 or 1/10 of what it used to cost 3 weeks ago. So it's a huge opportunity if you're able to kind of get in there and really maximize on your brand as a contractor, as a leader, right?
100%. So I've actually tested this. So I've tested this for myself. So I run ads on Facebook and YouTube, and then for my clients and also for my students in the course. And what we found is that we actually did the same ads that they were running prior to COVID-19, and then also relevant ads to COVID-19. And we tested it. And even the same ads that had nothing to do, without even acknowledging COVID-19 during this time, they're actually doing either equal to what it was before COVID-19 or better. And that's actually the opposite of what a lot of people thought. They thought, oh, we should shut down all the advertising efforts that we have because we need to just save money. But they actually would save more money, but advertising right now, because everyone's thinking that, right? Everyone had that idea that's like, oh, we just need to, I guess cash is the king. Like we need to just hold on to what we have as opposed to actually be aggressive and go on the offensive.
So there's an opportunity to plant seeds now, kind of waiting
100%.
for the harvest to come by engaging potential customers, even if they're not ready to kind of invest in your services just yet, but really to get in their faces, right?
100%. And one of the things, like even right now, what I found is that the contractors that are actually offering financing, they are able to, even right now during COVID-19, they're able to actually have sales. And they may do the sales through Zoom. So they, instead of actually going to a homeowner's place, they may actually use Skype, Zoom, some digital software to actually do their estimates of whether it be a kitchen remodeling, bathroom, whatever that is. But if they have financing options that allows homeowners to still pay the same amount, but over a long time, they're able to close. Because one of the biggest problems homeowners having is that it's not that they don't want to spend money, it's that they're kind of scared. So if, and financing I've seen with like some of our students that has actually helped them tremendously to get past that fear with the homeowners.
Yeah, this applies to every industry. So many industries, not just like contractors, but anyone out there. I spoke to someone yesterday who's a real estate agent, and the whole issue of doing showings now, and now they're doing kind of virtual showings of sorts, where they're able to kind of look at a space visually, and the technology is available. If they know how to leverage that technology, great things can come. And Arvin, I know you're passionate also about automation, and we talk about Zapier and all these things, and you can go to YouTube and learn how to do these things, or you can hire someone like Arvin to help you kind of navigate through these waters. But it doesn't have to be that difficult. And even these videos that they were doing, like you and I have the exact same setup. We have the same camera. We've got the same Blue Yeti mic. I think I paid $60 for this mic. I mean, it's not expensive, but just having someone to help you kind of be resourceful and navigate these waters is kind of a key thing, because there's a lot of material out there. Go to YouTube, search for these things, you'll find thousands and thousands of videos, but to have someone hold your hand, having a mentor can make all the difference. I know I have like 4 or 5 mentors. I have 5 mentors now I work with actively, who I'm on regular calls with, to support me during the situation and throughout the year itself.
Yeah.
What's the we'll talk about the advantages in mentoring of sorts, but then we'll go into the nitty gritty. We have about 12 minutes left, 10 minutes left as far as talking about tools, because I want people to get resourceful. The nature of these Rules for Success events have to do with being resourceful and inviting people to get out of their own ways to be able to do these things and not be afraid, right?
100%.
Right. So let's go deeper into that.
So what do you mean? Tell me more. Like, what's, as far as resources for, like, practical resources for businesses? Or?
Yeah, practical resources, like things you recommend, or what's the, before that, like what's the advantage in working with a mentor, having someone like yourself guide people through the current landscape, through these current challenges, building all of this out? Because I know you help businesses run Facebook ads and maximize YouTube, for example, and Instagram. These are the platforms that people are actively searching on. People are at home now, spending maybe 6 to 12 hours a day on these devices, looking at information and consuming content, right?
Honestly, I would say the good thing about having a mentor, and I have mentors myself, I still do. Like, even though I learned everything about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I still have, and I'm constantly still learning, because first of which things are changing. And then also there are certain things that come after spending a lot of money online. So like there are some experiences that you get that you can tell if you look at a specific ad or a campaign, you can kind of have a sense of whether it's going to do well or not before you even launch it, before you even spend a lot of money on it, right? So that comes with experience, and you can only get that from a mentor. You can't really, there's no way to like hack it. You gotta get to that point yourself as well with a mentor. And so there's that. And then there's also, it's really easy actually to do Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and there's plenty of tutorials online actually teaching you for free right now. You can go watch them. And I think what comes down to having a mentor is that they actually tell you what's really specific for your situation, like what you should be doing with all that information, and where you should focus. So whether be it between social media platforms, should you be focusing right now on just YouTube? Should you just be focusing on Facebook? And if you're just focusing on YouTube, what sort of content should you be producing right now based on what your objectives are, right? So I think that's something a mentor could help. Whereas if you try to do it yourself, you can. It just takes more time, and then it's maybe even harder. Yeah.
Right. You're putting your energy in different places where maybe your customers may not be landing there currently for searching for, whether it be YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. But there is an opportunity now, because like a lot of these things are cheaper now, like during these next few weeks. And we're not sure how long this will go for, but certainly there's an opportunity to kind of plant seeds. A friend of mine gave me the metaphor this past week, someone in Success Circles actually, about the nature of consuming versus producing. Right. So a lot of people are consuming information these days. And, as a business owner, as having a brand, there's an opportunity to now produce, kind of be the executive producer of your life. And when you're a producer, you're producing information, content. And, it's kind of getting on the court, just recording yourself on camera, maybe writing content, writing a blog article, or getting one of these sites to convey information. But remember, we're in the spring season. So there's an opportunity now to kind of plant those seeds now, because, we're not sure how long this will last. And, harvest can come if you're willing to make those investments. One of my mentors, who I was fortunate to work with for quite some time, Michael Gerber, he, even prior to Success, I don't know if I've told you this, Arvin, you may watch the video with this years ago. Well, I'll mention this very briefly. He, before Success Circles was a brand back in 2009, when I actually branded it, it was called the Embrace Group. It was a referral-based group community, but it wasn't growing, and it was a bunch of people, friends sharing about it. But until he actively invited me to kind of see it as a brand, seeing it as an opportunity to impact more people, have a vision for that, did I actually take those actions toward making it happen? Right. And, something happened in 2009 where I met someone and I wasn't there to help that person. And something traumatic happened to that person. That pain invited me to kind of take those actions to build it.
Mm.
So I want to invite you as your audience, like you're going through a lot of pain now, um, kind of absorbing in information, not really sure what to do next. It helps to have a mentor. In my case, it was Michael Gerber, who helped me kind of brand all of this out. He wrote a book called The E-Myth, which I think I have. Actually, I have a couple of his books over here, E-Myth Revisited, and also the, the the this other book, which he actually talks about me in that book too, specifically way back when. But I want to invite you to look at your business as a brand. And when you see your business as a brand, you can get someone like Arvin to help you and kind of run these ads to help you navigate through these waters. Because when you can do that effectively, you are planting seeds and there will be a harvest there on the other side. If you're just waiting for for a miracle to happen, or wait till this whole thing ends, probably, it probably may not serve. If you're waiting for the government to come and kind of give you these checks, perhaps, that'll last for what, a couple of weeks or so. But if you're actively investing, taking a couple $100 here and there, running some Facebook ads, using some of the things that Arvin teaches, then what will happen is you will grow. You will expand. You will get way beyond where a lot of your competitors are potentially.
100%. Also, something to think about is that this is going to end. I think the mindset that a lot of people are shutting down or resting right now is because they're thinking this is not going to end. This is it. Like, this is the end of the world. And I say it's very unconscious. It's not very conscious thinking. And if we actually realize that this is going to end, whether it be a few weeks, few months, whatever that is, then at that point, there's going to be an influx of business for pretty much any businesses. So a lot of cash flow are going to come in. But the businesses that are actually doing the advertising right now, they're relevant, they're being known, and they're actually seen as a leader throughout this time. They're going to come out of that, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be chosen to work with. So I think that's the mindset that it will help people actually get through this and be a leader, create that, like have that brand that's actually not going to shut down during tough times. It's a brand that's whatever happens, COVID-19, I don't know, tsunami comes, zombies, attacking us, either way, whatever that is, like that, this brand is going to get through it with people. Like that's the kind of brand,
exactly
that people want to create.
100 years ago in 1918, 30 to 50 million people died around the world due to Spanish flu, due to a flu that was named that. And the people who were the strongest were the ones who kind of were resilient, and they they were able to thrive beyond it when all that ended. And like this will pass, as you mentioned. But I'd invite all of you, invite all our members to, if you're watching this, that compound interest is in your favor. If you're willing to invest half an hour a day toward producing content, getting on Facebook, looking at what your competitors are doing, find ways to kind of pivot here and there, perhaps getting on video, especially. There's a huge opportunity because compound interest of 1% improvement per day over the course of a year, it's 3,700% improvement. Over the course of these 3 months, as we're dealing with this, it's about 300% improvement. It adds up quite a bit if you're willing to make that 20 to 30 minute investment per day. And that's the invitation that we have here with the series.
Yeah. And I don't know how we're doing with time yet, but even with
2 minutes left.
Okay, good. So let's say even with Facebook, for example, let's take Facebook. And so some people, maybe they're at this point, they're convinced in their own head, they're thinking, okay, maybe they should do something about this time, right? So, but they don't know what to actually put out. They're not sure what to say during COVID-19 times because there was no training for this. Like no marketers actually knew what to say during COVID-19 because we've just never had it. But what they can do is they can actually look, for example, Facebook ads library, and they can look at their competitors or like really huge brands and just see, okay, what are they doing since, let's say, a month ago? What ads are still running since a month ago? And then those kind of content or those kind of ads, they must be doing well. Otherwise, that business wouldn't spend a lot of money, keep it going for, more than a month. And
Yes.
so,
Mhm.
and then they can get ideas on, okay, so what to produce. And then if they don't know if how to produce it, they can just, use that as a template. They can pretty much interview people to tell them what they're struggling with, and then put that in as a content of their ad. And then they want to know how to run the ad, they can go on YouTube, how to run ads. And then it's a lot of things, just as you're saying, just being resourceful, right? So just
Yes.
figure it out. Like
Yeah.
that's the time to figure it out.
Yeah, to take ownership of your life, take responsibility for what's
Yeah.
happening currently, because you'll be resourceful in the process of that. And as Arvin just said, let's give some resources just now, and we'll talk about a couple more resources too beyond that. You mentioned you go to the Facebook Ads Manager, you can kind of spy on your competitors, see what they're doing actively. You can kind of see how much traffic they're getting, and this also goes for Google AdWords too. There are tools like SpyFu and other things that are out there. There are ways of seeing what they're doing, and just modeling success, right? The whole idea of funnel hacking, what Russell Brunson's done with ClickFunnels, for example, it's hacking funnels, seeing what your competitors are doing, and modeling success. And there's nothing wrong with that. The idea of even marketing, of having a swipe file, is basically you're seeing content, you're seeing how well it works, how well it converts, and you're like, well, how can I language my own business with this content too? And that's all stuff in marketing. And I believe we all have to get pretty strong, as business owners in marketing and sales. It's really critical. Those are two things that I'm always inviting people to get strong at each day. Right? Any other resources? Any other tools you recommend
Yeah.
during this time? You mentioned one
Yeah.
just now.
So I've found that, so a lot of businesses that we work with, there's some of them are brick and mortars. So you were talking about it, even though right now all we are helping people with and promoting is actually helping with contractors. Prior to that, I helped a lot of small businesses, all different niches. And so I still have clients from those niches that are still working with me. And what I found is that if you call up softwares, like for example, one of our clients is using Grasshopper, is a virtual phone service, Zapier, and a lot of other services. If you actually call them and say, hey, do you have any promotions for COVID-19 times? I found almost 80% and above of them, they actually have something going on. So
Mhm.
whether it be a grant, whether they give you 1 month credit, whether it be they do discounts, whether they actually add additional features for you to do more with that, whatever service that is. And I found that, and it's as simple as just calling them, or sometimes even emailing. So I've done it for a lot of our clients, just emailing saying, hey, is there any promotion going on for COVID-19? And they tell you, and they even put you in before you even request it, right? So that's that easy it is. And then there's a grant with Facebook,
Mhm.
Google, and LinkedIn. All three of them, they're actually rolling out grants.
Yes.
None of them have come out yet, but it will be, and it will show in the dashboard. What people can do is just be on the lookout.
Yeah, apply to the grant I applied for 2 weeks ago, and it's free to apply, and they'll give you
Which
all these
one?
extra. The Facebook one.
Is it out yet?
It's coming out soon. So basically, they'll add free ad credits into your store.
Yeah.
That's the whole nature of that, and that also goes for LinkedIn and YouTube too as
Yeah.
well. But if you search for that online, you'll find those resources. But it's about being resourceful, and as Arvin does, and how I know Arvin, he's one to make bold requests. It's about living boldly each day, getting out of your comfort zone, because all growth happens outside of a comfort zone. That there's a quote by Anais Nin, or the poet, that life expands outside of a comfort zone. You either get smaller by being comfortable, or you expand by being courageous each day. So live life a little more courageously each day, and pretty soon you'll get to where you want to be, and we'll all win together. That's the whole idea of this. We'll all win together. Well, Arvin, thank you for connecting with me today for this series. So this whole series will be a mind map on rulesforsuccess.com. You'll see the video and the mind map there as well. Connect with Arvin at contractorriches.com. He's accessible, he's available. And once again, this is all about being resourceful, and one simple means toward getting resourceful is gratitude. So Arvin, I'm grateful for you, our friendship over these years, and just for new opportunities, in midst crises that are out there. So that's my gratitude. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, my friend. We'll talk soon.